Today, I'm going to be showing you a step-by-step guide on how to conquer the Deadmines dungeon with 0 deaths and 0 problems. Let's go! These Defias miners apply an armor-piercing debuff, reducing armor by 50%, making the tank more susceptible to damage. And no, I'm not referring to the Drake variety of miners. Pull everything in this dungeon minimally. Almost every mob in this dungeon has social aggro and will run away in fear at low hit points, meaning that they will pull extra butt buddies to fight with them. To minimize catastrophe, pull everything back away from other mobs that you don't want aggroed yet. Now, as you can see, I am recording this in hardcore WoW, soloing it on my level 60 Warlock in order to showcase these mechanics accurately. Also, as you can see, I just run out of the instance and reset whenever a pull doesn't go to plan. You should also do the same. Play around the entrance for the beginning part of the dungeon, and always have a plan to run when things go wrong. The Defias Overseers apply an attack speed buff to nearby allies. A combination of this and the miner's armor-piercing debuff will hurt your tank, so have big heals ready. This is why we pull minimally. When I say minimally, I mean 3 to 5 mobs, including non-elites. These Defias Evokers take priority over the Overseers due to their Flame Strike cast. They also have Frost Armor, and can cast a Flame Ward, making them immune to fire damage. For the first boss, you're going to want to pull him back so he doesn't aggro the Defias henchmen on either side. His only mechanic is a 3-second stun on the tank, which deals significant damage. This is a tank and spank. Very easy fight. If you accidentally pull the henchman, just pull the boss next to one, and if you can, CC the other one using a spell such as Polymorph, and cleave down the boss with the trash mob. All the henchmen do otherwise is attack whoever has aggro. His hammer almost always drops. Free vendor loot if I do say so myself. Now, after the first boss, you're going to want to take a left here and check for Miner Johnson, a rare elite who can be seen mining with his fellow Defias miners. This guy can drop a decent blue shield for tanks or a green cape with 3 stamina. Since he is a rare, you won't always see him, so consider yourself pretty lucky if you do. Otherwise, you just turn right and proceed with the rest of the dungeon. After every boss kill, up until at least the third boss, a patrol of 2 Defias elites will spawn and wander the dungeon searching for your party. Now, for the second boss room, just line of sight and pull these back. You never want to pull any more than 2 or 3 of these goblins, since they throw an axe at whoever has aggro, stunning them. They also have a cleave attack, so melee, stand behind them, and ranged, play as far away as possible. Once you have cleared the room, it is time to pull the second boss. This is technically 2 bosses, since you need to break down the goblin's mech suit. This fight has 2 phases. In phase 1, the mechanical shredder is going to be completely immune and life-draining abilities such as drain life. This shredder can apply a debuff to casters, increasing the amount of time it takes to cast a single spell by 35%. He is also able to fear any who are close to him. This is why we clear the room. In phase 2, Sneed will eject from his suit, and all he can do is disarm the tank for 6 seconds. Again, this is a pretty easy fight. After the boss, you'll enter a straightforward path on your way to the third boss room. On your way, you'll notice that there are more goblins mixed with the Defias miners, so pull minimally in this entire hallway. These Defias taskmasters have a ranged ability which reduces the target's armor by 580. This armor loss is much heavier than the debuff applied by the Defias miners, but these can also stack. They also try to run away from the tank sometimes to reposition for the range attacks, so pulling back is advisable. It's time for the third boss room. Don't mind my health bar. I'm just doing some Warlock things to get my mana back. This is why I carry a full stack of food on me at all times. The Goblin Foundry. This is by far the hardest part of the dungeon, where most groups fail, so lock in. These Goblin Craftmen deal fire damage and apply a 40% slow to the target. The Goblin Engineers summon a mechanical golem, which is immune to Voidwalker Taunt and Drain Life spell, just like Sneed's Shredder. These Engineers are going to be your primary target before the Craftmen. This summon can be interrupted with any form of CC. Just like the last room, we're going to want to fall clear before pulling the next boss. In order to play this as safe as possible, pull every mob back to what I like to call the safety ramp. When you walk down the safety ramp, take a sharp right and check for a possible chest spawn, which can award your party additional loot. Once you're done clearing the room, all that should be left is the boss and 1 craftsman. Gilnid applies a molten metal debuff, dealing fire damage every 3 seconds, slowing by 50%, and reducing attack speed by 54%. This effect lasts for 15 seconds. Focus on the craftsman, then the boss, and you should have no problems at all with this room. This boss can drop a really good ring for casters, as it comes with a good amount of intellect and decent agility for its level. No, rogues, that does not mean you can roll knee just because it has agility on it. No, stop that. immediately. Now, jokes aside, we can now traverse to Mr. Smite. On your way there, you're going to encounter Defias Wizards, which become your priority kill target due to their root and fireball casts. They are also able to flame ward, just like the evokers we saw earlier. When you walk through the cave, you'll notice an alcove with a barrel on the ground filled with Defias powder. Someone in your party is going to need to loot this for the cannon up ahead. Once the hallway is clear, blast the doors open by applying the powder to the cannon, and then prepare for a triple elite pull that will ambush you from the other side. Here we find ourselves in the apex of the dungeon, the ship. With this ship comes new mobs, including Defias pirates. These pirates summon a non-elite parrot to assist them in combat. These birds are very squishy and easy to kill, so just cleave them down. The priority kill target mobs are going to be Defias Squall Shapers, however. These cast a Frost Nova, which will root any in reach. They have frost armor, just like the other casters we've seen so far, and they cast Fire Blast, which is instant fire damage. Oh, fall in the water? No big deal. There are goblin shipbuilders on the side, but they don't have a single mechanic. All they have is two-handed maces for slightly bigger attacks than the other goblins. As you can see, it's very easy to get back on the main path. Now you're ready for Mr. Smite. But be careful, it's not just Mr. Smite. He has stealthing bodyguards right in front of the safety ramp. Right in front of his safety ramp. Focus on the guards, then Mr. Smite. You can pull these out with any AoE, such as an engineering bomb or a mage blizzard, or the tank can simply walk forward and pull them all back to the part of the bridge where I am. Mr. Smite has 3 phases, but you can skip them if you're able to pull off stunning him at the right time. His phases are at 70% and 30% of his HP. During each phase, he war stomps, stunning everyone for a long while, which is why you pull him back so far. You don't want your tank getting smacked while being stunned. On his first transition, he switches to dual wielding weapons, causing him to attack faster. During his final phase, he swaps back to his mace, but this time he can thrash, which is 2 or more attacks at the same time. Now that you're done looting Mr. Smite's hammer, it is time for the next boss, Cookie. I'll explain soon why we kill Cookie first. For this trash, it's best to pull them back to prevent accidental body pulls or social aggro. Claim Mr. Smite's ramp as your new safety ramp. Once you get back to the ship, Cookie will be patrolling to or from his apex point, which is in the alcove here to the right. Cookie has an acid splash, which he throws at a random party member, causing damage over time, and he has a heal. Pull Cookie back because he will run away in fear when he drops low. Once you finish him, do a 180 and clear the rest of the trash on your way to the ship for the final 2 bosses. Now, if anything goes wrong, let me show you what to do real quick, okay? Now, if anything goes wrong at all on this entire ship, what you're going to want to do is just jump right over here on what we like to call the safety wheel. This is a safe spot. Now we've upgraded from the ramps to the wheel, guys. Guess what? This is actually a safety wheel because nothing can touch you here. In other words, anything that tries to hit you will not be able to hit you because they're all going to evade from you. Eventually, they should be able to reset, or if you need to absolutely leave, you can hearth out. Now that you've cleared the trash, it's time for Captain Greenskin and his patrolling posse. Focus on his friends, and then proceed with killing the boss. This boss has a poison dot, which can be cleansed by paladins or interrupted. He also cleaves. Now all I gotta say is, these women are diabolical, brother! Cause why are they hanging around this goblin for? This is what happens when you don't stay loyal with your fellow humans or Alliance members. For the Alliance! This is why we're killing you. Don't call it a victory yet, however. You have one last boss. The one we've all been waiting for. Edwin Van Cleef. Edwin has stealthies with him, so pull him out of the room and give your tank time to generate threat on all 3 targets before going ham on his homies. Van Cleef dual wields and thrashes. Yes, you heard me right. He has extra attacks and he attacks quickly. So have big heals ready for your tank. At 50% life, Van Cleef will spawn even more adds. Just focus down Van Cleef, then finish the ads, and it's a done deal. Once he is finished, loot everything, then drop down the ship and leave through the cave to enter Westfall or simply hearth out. This is why we killed Cookie first, because we don't want to drop down into Cookie with potentially less hit points than what we would like. Therefore, we're preventing catastrophe by pulling him early. Congratulations! You have survived the first Alliance dungeon with many more to come in the future. And if you liked what you saw, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can keep up with more guides to come in the future. Peace.